What's up, everybody? Welcome back to the STR Investing Podcast. I am your co-host, Mark Lumpkin, and today I'm bringing you another Monday morning market data report. We do this every Monday. We bring you guys data from different markets all around the country so you can see how your properties stack up, or you can help underwrite future deals if you're looking to invest in that market. And this week, I'm bringing you none other than Gulf Shores, Alabama. City that's only about an hour from where I live. It's on the beautiful Gulf Coast, whether it's the Gulf Coast of America or the Gulf Coast of Mexico. I don't think it really matters, but it's a great place to vacation. It could be a solid place to invest if you do it right. And so let's get into it. Here's what the numbers tell us. If you have a 3-bedroom and you are in the average, in the 50th percentile in Gulf Shores, Alabama, you're gonna make about $42,000 a year. If you're in the 75th percentile, you're gonna make about $59,000 a year. And if you're in that top 10%, you could make as much as $77,000 a year. So there's a pretty big swing there in the 3-bedroom category from the average to the top earners. Obviously, we know in beach towns, a lot of that is gonna have to do with the location. If you are beachfront, if you have a view, if you hit the seasonality right, there's a lot of factors that go into that, but there is a big swing between the average performing properties and the top performing properties. We see that in both daily rate and in occupancy. So average daily rate for a 3-bedroom in the 50th percentile is 305. Average daily rate for that 3-bedroom in the top 10% is 423. So a bit of a swing there, about $125, $120 a night. And then the occupancy changes drastically. Those average homes rent out at about a 40% click a year, and the top 90th percentile homes rent out at about a 67% occupancy. So a pretty big swing in occupancy and a small swing in daily rate is how you make an extra $35,000 a year between the average and the top performing properties in 3 bedrooms. When we jump to 4 bedrooms, we see a bit of a jump, kind of like we see in most markets. We go from making $42,000 a year to making $54,000 a year, about a 12 grand swing. If you add that 4th bedroom, that's in the average in the 50th percentile. The big swing comes if you are in the top performing properties. If you're in the top 10%, you could go from making about $77,000 a year to making $108,000 a year. So there's a $30,000 swing for the top performing properties and only a $12,000 swing for the average. We see the average daily rate bump quite a bit. We're going from the 300 to 400 range in a 3-bedroom to the almost 500 to 600 range in a 4-bedroom. Average daily rates for 4 bedrooms in the 50th percentile is 437. Average daily rate for 4 bedrooms in the 90th percentile is 615. So a good jump there depending on where you fall in that category. And then occupancy rate, it actually dips for the 4 bedrooms. We go from 40% occupancy on the 3 bedrooms to 36% occupancy on the 4 bedrooms in the average. And then if you have a top performing property, you go from a 67% to a 62% occupancy. So that's a good thing. When we see occupancy go down, but revenue go up, that means you're actually making more net because you have less cleanings, you have less turnover, you have less headaches. So that's not necessarily a bad thing. You just see a much higher nightly rate, and that's why you make more money with 4 bedrooms over 3 bedrooms in Gulf Shores, Alabama. When I jump into 5 bedrooms, this is where it gets interesting. We see huge jumps in the 5-bedroom category. Go from making on average $54,000 a year in 4 bedrooms, which is just a small bump from the 3 bedrooms, all the way up to almost $70,000 a year in the 5 bedrooms on the average. So the 50th percentile folks can make about $70,000 a year in Gulf Shores, Alabama with a 5+ bedroom. So that 5 bedroom is super valuable. That's up from $55,000 on a 4 bedroom. So what's that up? It's a $15,000, $16,000 swing. It's pretty substantial. And then if you're a top performing property in the 90th percentile, you could make as much as $167,000 a year. So that's almost a $60,000 bump from a 4 bedroom to a 5 bedroom. So if you're gonna go out there and you're gonna set up a great property that's a top performer, that's well designed, has all the amenities, a 5 bedroom is gonna crush it over a 4 bedroom. A 4 bedroom is gonna do a little bit better than a 3 bedroom. Average daily rates in the 5 bedroom starts at 580 on the average and then goes up to 955 in the top 90th percentile. Obviously those are properties that are really well designed, amenitized, probably have beach views or on the beach. So those are going to be the really top performing homes that are bringing almost $1,000 a night in the 5-bedroom category. Then let's get to the 6 bedrooms. The biggest properties we have, the biggest ones that we have in our data, we see the average homes making $101,000 a year, about 30 grand up from the 5 bedrooms. We see the top performing properties making $242,000 a year. So there's the potential to have a $250,000 a year revenue property in Gulf Shores, Alabama, which is crazy. Because what we see a lot of people think about is they've got to go to Miami, Scottsdale, Broken Bow, Oklahoma, buy really expensive real estate in order to get to that category. But if you strategically buy the right property in Gulf Shores and you set it up properly, you could be pushing on $250 a year in revenue on 6+ bedrooms. We see that mostly come in the form of nightly rate. The average 6 bedrooms are bringing $830. The top 10% 6 bedrooms are bringing almost $1,200 a night. So a huge jump in revenue. We actually see occupancy go up again on the 50th percentile on the averages. You're gonna rent better on a 6 bedroom than on a 5. You're gonna go from a 35% occupancy with a 5 bedroom all the way up to a 41% occupancy with a 6 bedroom. And then in the 90th percentile, the top performing homes, your occupancy is gonna stay basically the same. You were at 63% on 5 bedrooms, you're gonna be at 62% on 6 bedrooms. No meaningful change there, but revenue jumps by $80,000. So when occupancy stays the same, revenue jumps, we know you're making more money. So there you go, guys. That's the story. That's what the data tells us of Gulf Shores, Alabama. It can be a great market to invest in. Fun little beach town if you haven't visited it. We will catch you guys this Friday. We have another guest special. Thank you for listening in. Please like, subscribe, share. We'll catch you guys this Friday for another great guest.